Hi, I'm Gabrielle Target from A Labour of Love, and today I want to share with you how and why you should write a birth plan. Now, a lot of my clients say, but Gabby, how can I plan for my birth? And I say, well, how can you afford not to plan? It is really, really fundamentally important that you do some form of preparation around what your birth wants and needs are. Then you can share that information with your support people so they're not second guessing what you want, with your midwife and with your obstetrician if you have one. That's the reason. The other reason is to gain clarity on what it is that you want and you need. A birth plan is, I guess, a checklist. It's a birth wants and needs list. It's something that you are working towards. Now, you are not committed to it and you're not a failure if it doesn't go that way. Okay, so the birth plan I'm going to share with you now is one where it has adaptability and you get to write what your birth wants and needs are literally under each of the headings. You know, they do say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now, birth is not a fail or a pass. However, if you just show up on the day and say, I'm just going to wing it, I'm just going to do whatever feels right for me, unfortunately, those types of births tend to go very skew-whiff. And the thing about that is a lot of my clients who didn't put enough preparation into their birth planning created an anything goes labour experience. And when you have an anything goes, you can end up with a lot of interventions that you didn't want. After the baby's born, they came to me and questioned, why did this happen? You know, why did it go this way? And basically we debriefed that it began, really, it started back when they didn't do a birth plan, when they didn't think about what they really wanted and needed and what they didn't want and they didn't need. That's what you need to consider here. Now, before you even start planning your labour and your birth and what your wants and needs are, I want you to think about the type of birth you would like to experience. What is it that you want? Do you want a water birth? Do you want a birth at home? Do you want a birth in a birth centre? Do you want to birth in a hospital facility with an obstetrician? I want you to start to think about, where are you actually going to birth? Now, you might be 2 steps ahead of me already. You've already made your mind up and you've come to this video because you want to know how to write a good birth plan. And by the way, this birth plan that I'm going to share with you is a very simple, straightforward birth plan. Really, it shouldn't be any more than 2 pages long and it should be bullet point. All right, let's get back to the questions that I always get my clients to ask themselves. So when you think about a contraction, what do you think about? So do you think about pain and intensity? Do you think about the terror of birth and all the things that can go wrong? Well, you need to come into this birth in a positive way. So think of this as your blueprint. This is what you're going to try and work towards. And if you do have elements of, that fear, anxiety, and worry come into your head about certain things, write them down, because that's where you can do some education prior to your labour journey beginning and clear that from your psyche. That's something that I actually help my clients do through hypnosis and through private childbirth education sessions. Let's move on. Do you refer to contractions as pain or intensity? Well, contractions really are just intensity, and they're a wave of intensity. And women fear that intensity way too much. I want you to go into this planning in a positive way, thinking, okay, I'm going to endure something. I'm going to endure perhaps an intensity that's going to sweep through my body, because fear is false evidence appearing real, right? If you're fearing this experience, you're setting yourself up to think it's going to be something that it's not. Now, as a doula of 28 years and a childbirth educator, I've had numerous clients tell me that after the labour and the birth, they were actually pleasantly surprised with what the contractions felt like and how they managed to cope because of all the training that they had done. That's where I would love you to be, where you are feeling calm when it comes your labour day or night. You are surrendering, breathing, and letting go, and you're in that beautiful labour place, the place where women are all oxytocinized up and endorphinized up, and they just go into this altered state and they go within to labour. That's really where you want to be working to with this natural, normal labour birth experience. Now, this birth plan that I am taking you through is for a natural, normal birth experience. Now, I say to my clients, you've got nothing to lose by putting out into the universe what it is you want to create. It's better than sitting at home stewing on all the things that can go wrong. I want you to stop listening to the negative stories, start thinking positive. Now, you're in the creation of your story. Don't listen to all the other women's stories, because a lot of them are very gloom and doom, and they will not serve you at all. They'll plant the seeds of doubt in your mind, and that is not what you need at all. Think about what you think about labor, because your thoughts create your reality. So if you use the word pain, use the acronym purposeful, anticipated, intermittent, and normal. That's what pain stands for. Everything to do with labor. It's intensity. As I said, it's a wave. Try and use the word intensity. Replace the pain word, because intensity makes it doable, doesn't it? It makes it bearable. It makes it seem bearable. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go through some intensity. Doesn't that sound so much nicer? And, you know, some of my clients, like myself, absolutely love labour. They love labour. And they just felt it was like a walk in the park. Women have also had orgasmic births where they feel like they're having an orgasm while they're birthing. Something else to consider as well. That is when a woman is heightened with her hormones of oxytocin and endorphins, and as the baby descends, she feels like she's literally having an orgasm. It is possible, ladies. Don't rule it out. I've seen it actually happen. In my 28 years of being a doula, I have seen it all, and I have seen that. So yeah, it's like ecstasy in the best possible way. So you need to create this plan so that everybody is on the same page. Right, so let's get going with it. Choice of caregiver. You need to choose who you would like to look after you. Now, I don't know about where you're living and where you've come from. Here in Australia, the moment you pee on the stick, you basically need to go to the GP, general practitioner, and they will give you a heap of information. And then if you want to get in with an obstetrician, you have to basically sign up from the get-go, from, you know, however many weeks you are when you pee on the stick. That's how crazy it is. It's very busy here in Australia with birthing. You might want midwifery-led care. So then here in Australia, that's a public hospital and or a birth centre where you get looked after just by midwives. So they're really your options. And of course, an option is to have a doula as well if you feel perhaps you need the extra support because maybe your partner doesn't feel confident in providing you with what you need come day or night for your labour journey. And that's okay too. Acknowledge that. You can't push your partner into to doing something they don't want to do. And if their heart's not in it, or they don't feel they'll be able to do it or cope seeing you in this altered state, then definitely get a doula on board, because they will help you to do everything and anything to keep your labour running smoothly, calmly and peacefully. That's what a doula can provide. So moving on, place of birth, you've got to decide, where am I going to birth? Where do I want to have this baby? Now, where do they do water birth? If it's a water birth you want, make sure that you're choosing a hospital that does water birth. A few years ago, I had a client who decided to have a private obstetrician, but she really desperately wanted a water birth. But she ended up in a private hospital with obstetric care, and she couldn't have her water birth that she was really hoping and wanting because the bath became unavailable last minute. She was really upset, very distraught about the fact she didn't get to have her water births. Make sure that where you're choosing is going to match what your wants and needs are. Very important. And where are you going to get your childbirth education from? You can do my online course. I have so many resources available. I've got my books, I've got my hypnosis scripts, I've got my audio childbirth education program, I've got affirmation cards, I've got a workbook, I've got ebooks. I have so much content. And when women use my whole online package, they create amazing labour and birth experiences, and they just can't really thank me enough for that content. I created it basically for women and their partners and their support people. All of it's for those three people in mind, to really help educate them and to really help create this beautiful birth that you want and desire. That is my mission, to help as many couples as I can. Think about what books you're going to read as well. Be very mindful about the books that tend to tell you everything that can go wrong. There's one book that comes to mind, which I won't mention, but it's a #1 seller in the USA, and it makes me cringe because women read it and then they know everything that can possibly go wrong. Now, I know knowledge is power, but I draw the line at reading a book that tells you everything that can go wrong, because there's so many things that can go right with this beautiful labour journey. And birth can be really straightforward. It doesn't have to be complicated. We make it complicated. If we don't do exercises from 30 weeks on our Fitball and leaning forward, we don't get our baby into optimal fetal position. And there lays all the trouble right there. That's the problem. If you go into labour and you have not got your baby in optimal fetal position from 30 weeks on, you're going to have a hard time during your labour. So just bear that in mind. So I educate all my couples. I've done videos on optimal fetal positioning. Please look at those and really do the exercises. You can't afford to go into labour with your baby sitting posterior, spine to spine. It just creates a long, hard labour, and interventions usually take place because of that. All right, let's get back on track. So are you going to do private childbirth education classes in your area? Are you going to seek independent? As I said, I have my online resources available, and they're a great way to learn at home, and my clients love that. They just listen to my voice, my scripts, all my content when it suits them. Being that I've recorded all my childbirth education onto a digital format means you can listen to it in the car. You can listen to it if you're traveling to work, on a train. So really utilize those. Are you going to get your childbirth education from YouTube? I mean, there's so many fantastic YouTube clips out there. And I'm building my library currently, so please go and have a look at that. So they're the sorts of things that you need to think about, where you're going to get your education from, and be very discriminate about it being positive. It needs to be positive, not the gloom and doom. All right, let's move on. So when you write a birth plan, you should always incorporate this message. And this is really important. Because this is a guide, it's not a contract. All right, so I'll read it to you. When I planned this guideline, I wanted to think positive and assume that there is not going to be any overriding medical conditions occurring. However, should my baby or myself be in any way in need of medical assistance and or intervention, I am open and willing to totally renegotiating my birth plan in order that my baby and myself be under no undue stress or harm. So there you go. You've unlocked yourself from thinking this is a contract. It is not. It's a plan. It's a guide that you work towards. Should you need to go down the road of interventions, you're open and willing. That's it. Unlocked yourself. So there's no need to stress about thinking that this is something that you have to stick to and you've failed if it doesn't go that way. Because sometimes birth does go a little off to the side. You know, I mean, I've had clients that have nearly birthed in my car on the way to hospital, and they had this beautiful birth plan of water birth and, you know, being on their hands and knees and relaxing in the tub for a couple of hours before they pushed. I've had women birth at home accidentally. And, you know, we had every intention to travel to the birth centre or the hospital, and we never made it out the door because labours just happened so fast and the baby wanted to come in so quickly. I've actually done a lot of accidental home births and they were truly accidents. I swear, I didn't keep them at home. I always ask my clients, do you want to travel now? Shall I call an ambulance? So yeah, because I have to be accountable, of course, for what my clients' wants and needs are when it does go a little sideways. But anyway, it's all good. And, you know, we've got to remember, women have been doing this for millions of years, well, thousands of years, right? It's not new. Giving birth is not a new concept. The way we think about it is a new concept, all right? So that's where it's changed. We just need to think more positively. We need to have the red tent approach again, where women are in circle and they share good, positive stories with each other. That's what we really need. And that's what I'm trying to do through all my videos and through all my online resources, is get the word out there. The birth is good. It's fantastic. It's empowering. It sets you up to be an amazing mum. That's what it does. And dad. All right, let's move on. How do you start your birth plan? Well, you really need to have a good intro. It should read something like, I'll say John and Sam, want to create a positive and empowering birth experience and would like the following labour and birth wants and needs lists to be read by every team member that is in the room. I would love, or we would love you to support us and assist us in creating this wonderful journey of labour and birth. For my support, I would like my partner, John, or whoever the partner is, Sam, Jenny, whoever your partner is, and doula, whoever that is. You write them by name so they know who are going to support me and be with me throughout my labour and birth journey. Write something about your support people, who they are and what they're going to be doing. Then everyone's clear about who's in the room. There's no second guessing. Next, you want to write what your wants and needs are. This can be in point form. I would start with, when I go into labour, I would like to labour at home for as long as possible and travel to my place of birth when I am ready. Now, that's more for your support people, just to give them the heads up. When I've attended births, most of my clients will do their warm-up labour at home, and I go to their home and they labour there, and then we all travel together to the place of birth. That's quite usual. The same principle applies if it's just you and your partner. You stay at home. Look, in all honesty, hospitals want you to be 4 centimetres plus and in established labour. In order to do that for a first-time mum to be, it can take up to 10 hours. It can take a day or a night to get to that 4 centimetre mark, and that's an average. 4 centimetres in dilation of cervix, I'm talking about. Stay at home. You can do your best work at home. You really can. You can use your own shower. You can move around your house. You can get on your Fitball. You can lean forward on the beanbag, resting your body. You can sleep the small stuff. There's no pressure. Although if you feel that something's not right or you are anxious about your labour, then you head on in. There's no rules with any of this. It's just what you feel intuitively is right for you and your body. All right, next you write the heading. Once I am admitted to hospital, I would like, so this is bullet point, husband or partner, wife, to stay with me at all times and assist me. To eat, if I wish to eat, small amounts every hour on the hour. To stay hydrated, drinking 750 mils per hour. My partner to give me a sip of water every 10 minutes. To walk and move around and choose active labour positions that feel right for me and my body at the time. All bullet points. That's when you get into the hospital, straight off the bat, that's what you want to do. Anyone that reads that, like a midwife, should go, right, okay, this woman really wants to be active, in active labour. That's awesome. I'll set the room up to help cater to her needs. Next comes, as long as the baby and I are fine, I would like, again, to use the active labour positions around the room, to have intermittent rather than continuous electric fetal monitoring. Intermittent is where you have a Doppler, where the midwife comes and just puts the little battery-operated baby heart monitor with a bit of gel on the end, puts it on your belly, and you can hear baby's heartbeat. Now, baby's heartbeat should be like a horse cantering on the beach. So it sounds like this. That's how your baby's heartbeat should sound. Next comes to allow to progress free of stringent time limits. No one likes to be told, come on, we want to see dilation, we want to see XYZ happening, or we're going to intervene. None of that going on, okay? Just you're labouring. End of story. No time frame should even apply to your labour. Nobody knows how long it's going to take you to do A to B, B being birth. Nobody knows that. No one can assume and no one can prophesize. Don't worry about time. It's really important you don't worry about time. Now, because you're drinking so much water, you need your support people to remind you to go to the toilet to pee, because sometimes you lose your feeling and urge to go to the toilet because there's so much pressure down. Every 20 to 30 minutes, get your support people to say, okay, it's toilet time now. Let's go. And after you finish your contraction, they help you to go to the bathroom. And you can sit there and have, 3 or 4 contractions on the toilet. A toilet's a great place to have contractions, actually. Women underestimate it, but it actually really is a good place. Now, make sure the lights are down low too, because it can be really bright when you do enter the bathroom. All right, next, whilst labouring, I would like to try, and these are all your natural intensity relief options. So what have you got? You've got the shower. The shower is amazing, especially with the handheld shower component, pushing the water with the pressure down on your pelvis and lower back. It helps you to decrease your intensity. So why does this work? Well, there's something called the gate theory, which I've written about in my first and second book. The gate theory is where you have a stimuli on your lower back and pelvis through 3 pressure points that runs down through your pelvis. And when they are stimulated, particularly during a contraction, they reduce your intensity by up to 30%. So your body is still contracting 10 out of 10, but you've got a drop of 3 increments, so 7 out of 10. That's how this works. Now, the best of the best is being submersed in the bath with having massage on your back, or you've got the handheld shower piece also while you're immersed. If you're floating on your stomach or you're on your hands and knees, that's the ultimate. Then you've got massage. If you're out of the bath, I've just done a video on the best formula for massage that you could possibly do. And really important that your support people know how to do this. Really, really important. Heat packs are very good. Gel packs, where you click the little thing and then the gel goes all hot inside. So they're very good. TENS machine. Some women love their TENS, especially when they go into established labour, because they have control, and usually they have a little button where they push the button to give you more of a stimulation through those pads that are on your back and pelvis, or they click off when the contraction's off. So you've got full control there. You've also got hypnosis. Now, self-hypnosis, a lot of my clients, when they listen to my scripts repeatedly from 30 weeks on, it's funny, they either say, Gabby, I heard your voice the whole time and I didn't even have the scripts playing. Creepy, I know. It is a bit creepy. They could hear my voice talking them through each contraction. Of course, if I'm their doula, I'm doing it for real. But don't underestimate the power of hypnosis and having someone in your ear pod talking to you and talking you through contractions and surrendering and breathing. So powerful. It is a natural intensity relief method, even though it's not hands-on, but it's very, very powerful. So they're just some of the ways, of course, that you can feel a reduction in your intensity. Now, the bath, I recommend that you use the bath when you are 6 centimeters plus dilation of your cervix, because then you're in good established labor. It's not going to slow your labor down. It's going to enable you to get the full benefit of relief when you get in there. It's absolute ecstasy. Having had 3 labors myself and water births, I can't recommend highly enough water. If you're a water person, I have, though, over the years had women get into the tub and they hated it. So each to their own. No judgment here. Some women need to feel grounded and they need to be on the floor giving birth. They can't be in a bath. So for me, I just loved it. I was in there and I just felt instantly that 30% reduction in intensity, and I couldn't get enough of that. And I had very quick labours. I really needed that reduction in intensity. So when I say that, my shortest labour, being my 3rd, was 2 hours from woe to go. My longest, being my middle child, Benjamin, 6 hours. And then my first labour was approximately, you usually take it from when you go into established labour, It was about 2.5 hours. I labour very quickly. I'm one of those women. So I have to be ready, really ready, mentally, more so than physically. Anyway, enough about me. All right, next, think about all the different positions you're going to go in. Whilst labouring, I would like to try, that's your heading, labouring in the birthing tub when I'm 6 centimetres plus, which I just said, or going into the shower. Now, in the shower, you don't have to stand. You can go on your hands and knees in the shower, leaning over a football with your partner behind you in bathers, if they want, massaging you and using, again, that shower head and the pressure and taking it around your pelvis like so and down through the pressure points, the 3 pressure points through your pelvis. That's awesome to do that, to have that. It feels amazing. To sit and lean forward over the football. So you could be up on the bed here if you're in the hospital. You could be down on the floor on a mat or a mattress or a yoga mat leaning over your football. You could be sitting on the football leaning over your bed. So that's another good place to go. It's similar to being at home, sitting on your football, leaning over your dining room table. Take a beanbag if they don't have them. A beanbag is a great way to rest your body, make that beautiful hole with the beans and just flop forward and really relax your body. That's an awesome thing to do as well. Squatting, holding on to the side of the bed. Lots of women love to squat. If you're good at yoga and Pilates and you've got good, strong muscle tone, muscle strength and endurance, squatting for you will be easy. And a lot of women love squatting. The same as they love the knight's position. Knight's position is where you have one leg out with the foot on the floor and the other knee bent. So like you're being knighted. It's like you've gone down to be, knighted, literally. That's a great way to birth. And then changing legs regularly. You switch your legs to the other one forward and the other one back, and then you switch every few contractions. Baby's getting equal pressure coming down and not sort of just lopsided with the pelvis tilted. All right, so making sure you switch. Standing, swaying your hips, leaning forward, sitting on the toilet. Don't underestimate that. You could be facing the system, putting a pillow on the back of the system and using that as a place to labour. Tune in to what feels right for you. There is no wrong or right here, but just choices. And that's what we're going through here in bullet point. Just your choices, really. What you think you would like to have happen. All right, and you can try these positions out prior to, and that's what I teach in my childbirth education workshops, is try all of them out. I set up my whole area where I teach so couples can come here to my house and they try all the positions out, and then I talk to them about what they loved and what they didn't like at all, because that's a pretty good indicator of what's going to work for you. All right, next, you should have a checklist of everything you need to take. Maybe at the very end, you can put this in. It's not really necessary as part of your birth plan, but it is a checklist to remind your support people of everything that you should have with you. Now, this list is things that are going to be on your kitchen bench while you're labouring at home. They do not get packed in the car until you are ready to travel to your place of birth, because you're going to need all of this for however many hours it takes to do your warm-up labour. Things like your iPhone cords and charger, have music already set up, have hypnosis scripts set up. They're easy to find. Bluetooth speaker, earphones or earbuds, have those ready and charged. Your own piece of foam to go on the floor in the shower, if you're kneeling in the shower, leaning forward on your fit ball so your knees don't get sore, or you can go in the bottom of the tub. A yoga mat can do the same if you don't want to get a piece of foam. Something that's going to protect your knees and feet while you're kneeling on the floor. Your own pillow. Some women love to take their own pillow along to labour. They put their face into it. Pull up adult incontinence underwear. Very good for catching amniotic fluid. Particularly if you're labouring around your own house at home and your membranes haven't broken. I would highly recommend that you wear a pair of those, because amniotic fluid really does stink and it goes into your furniture and it's very hard to get the smell out. Trust me, I know. I know from attending lots of births where that's happened, where women have sat on their beautiful brand new couch and their membranes are broken. Take your own fit ball. Have a fit ball where your pelvis is higher than your knees when you sit on it, so it's the right size for you. You must have your pelvis higher than your knees. Calming remedy. So a Bach flower, Australian bush essence is what we use here. In England, it's the Bach flower calming remedy. Any of those brands will just a few drops under your tongue every couple of hours, perfect, or in your water that you're drinking. They can just help you to be calm. All right, moving on, labour massage oil. So some type of oil, just a plain apricot oil, a plain olive oil, whatever oil works for you. Apricot oil is a very thin oil. I quite like apricot oil. You could use an almond oil, but something just raw and something with no chemicals. Perfect. Because when you're naked and you're being massaged, you need some form of lubricant on your back, or else your skin is going to be rubbed dry from the massage. Heat packs. So lupin or rice, whatever works, wheat. Some hospitals won't allow a heat pack to be heated in the microwave, so you might want to go to a water bottle or a gel, or one of the ones that you click and it creates the heat within it. So it's an instant heat pack. They won't last forever, but they can give you some comfort. If you can use a microwave, or you can use boiling water in a water bottle, that can really help to have that on your lower back and pelvis. Perfect. Now, food is ultimately the most important thing. So in some of my other videos, I talked about you're preparing yourself for a marathon. Literally, your uterine muscles are running a marathon on the inside. It's really, really important that you have energy and fuel on board. Make sure 100% that you've got some. I recommend protein balls with dried apricots and fruit and nuts. Make sure you've got something like that. Bananas are very good. Chopped up apple and orange can be really good. A healthy sandwich, grainy bread sandwich, but only a bite of. You're not eating the whole thing unless you're really hungry. But a lot of women, digestion is not the body's priority at all. Basically, just bites. You're just having bites. Muesli bars, maybe you've made your own, that are nice and healthy and no preservatives, and they've got lots of goodies in them, lots of dried fruit, that sort of thing. Some women just love soup. They'll just sip on soup, maybe with some pasta in it, to give you some carbohydrate. You want low glycemic index foods. Some of my clients have eaten potatoes, mashed potato, that they've cooked themselves, rice, made rice balls, or even eaten just like eggs, just to give them some protein as well. So look, really anything goes. I would highly recommend that you stay away from chocolate and lollies and those types of things. They just don't give you the energy that you need to labour. So really, really important. All right, next is what I would like for my vaginal birth. Think about the position you want to give birth in. What does it look like to you? This is where you have to go, all right, I need to imagine here myself giving birth. What position does it look like I'm in? What's best for my body? Now, if you're in the bathtub, any position goes to birth because you've got buoyancy on you and not gravity. But if you're in your labour room, your options really are to climb up on the bed on your hands and knees, to stand next to the bed, or to squat, or do a knight's position. Or if your partner sits in the beanbag, you could lean slightly back and they can hold you under your arms while you birth. So think about what your vaginal birth looks like. That's what you'd write there. When I come time to birthing, this is the position I'd like to be in. Now, when it comes time to push, this might be where you write, I would like to be assisted and told how and when I should push and when I should back off. And when it comes time for the burn and sting, for the midwife or whoever's looking after me to help me preserve my perineum and keep it intact by telling me to slow down and to go gently. That's really important, and that will save you getting a tear. If you use the C word, this is the only time you can use the C word, which is control. The rest of your labour, you have no control. It's about surrender. This is really fundamentally important. Now, if you were to tear, do you want to tear? Next it says, I would like to tear rather than have an episiotomy. All right, think about that, because a episiotomy is a straight scissor cut. A tear is a jagged of tissue, but it knits beautifully together. Have a think about what you would like there when it comes push time and when you get to the burning of the perineum and vagina. Really importantly, think about that and think about what position you're in. Brings us to the end, which is after the birth, I'd like, so baby, skin to skin, and hold off any procedures that are not necessary to be done straight away. So you can have that beautiful moment to bring in that oxytocin and endorphins. Magic. To breastfeed as soon as possible, as soon as the baby's ready, if that's what you want to do, if you're going to breastfeed. Now, you also have some options while you're doing the bonding and the connection. You're actually waiting for your placenta to be birthed as well. So there's 2 births that we do. You might want to say to wait until the umbilical cord stops pulsing before it's clamped and cut by my partner if they want to. Maybe you want to cut it. I don't know. See who wants to cut it at the time. Or you might want to have a physiological 3rd stage. This is where you birth your placenta naturally, and it's got 3 components to it. A physiological 3rd stage is where you hold off having syntocinon, the injection they give you in your thigh, to help your uterus to start to really contract to get the placenta out and to shut down your capillaries and prevents hemorrhaging. But most women will not hemorrhage, I want to say that too. So it's a precautionary injection. Delayed cord clamping is the second element. So delay the cord clamping, you can hold the cord, and when it's got the pulse, you'll feel it like this, and then it will slowly start to stop. When you feel the cord has stopped, that is when you can then clamp it. And wait for the placenta to be birthed in its own time. So you just wait. Now, often getting the baby on the breast for breastfeeding stimulates your uterus to contract and your placenta will release. But not always. It just helps it along. So be mindful of maybe you would like to choose having a physiological 3rd stage, which is just a natural way to bring your placenta into the world. Now, postpartum, so after the baby's born, any procedures that need to take place in front of you. Your baby doesn't get taken anywhere. My husband or partner to stay with me at all times, and if the baby has to go somewhere, my partner to go with the baby. I plan to breastfeed exclusively, so no top-ups with formula if your baby gets taken away, because that's been known to happen. And to keep the bonding going for as long as possible, skin to skin, until I no longer need to hold the baby. I'd like to get up and have a shower myself, and partner to hold bubby skin to skin so they can take their top off and do the bonding too. So that's something really nice that your partner can do. All right, on the back page, it's a great idea to have this statement: should the need arise for you to have a cesarean. So at the back of my birth plan, I add a page in that basically is folded, and you don't actually get anyone to look at it. It's only in the event that you need to go for some type of medical necessity that you open that page up and it says what you'd like should that arise. And how it reads is, I would like to avoid having a C-section. However, if my baby or I are in any need, medically or physically, I will consider one if there's no other options available. If I have a C-section, I would like, so partner always to be present during the operation, baby to come to me as soon as possible for the bonding, the baby to be given to my partner as soon as he or she is wrapped, as long as he or she is in good health, to do the skin to skin and breastfeeding in the recovery room or as soon as it's possible. In the event the baby cannot come with me into the recovery room, my partner to stay with the baby at all times. So your partner might go to the NICU or the nursery where the babies are kept in these scenarios. And my baby is not to be separated unless there is a medical problem, in which case my partner will again go with the baby. So basically you're just trying to set up and establish what you would like to have happen in a case of an emergency. So that basically wraps up what an overall idea of a birth plan is. Now, if you have liked this video, please subscribe, please give me the thumbs up, please make a comment. I am going to put an overview, a workable Word document overview of this very plan. So you don't even have to, think about what you're going to write. I'm giving away a free birth plan for you. Have a look down in the links below, and please utilize my template, which I've used with hundreds of clients and they absolutely love it.